Zork didn't say anything because he's very kind. I curse a lot. I'm going to try not to. You give me the thumbs up, so you clap loudly for me because I'll be playing to you. I'm going to try my best. If I slip up, it is not Zork's fault. It is my fault for slipping up. Here we go. See, oh, Jesus, all right, this is called Why I Lit My Radio on Fire and Threw It Off of the Balcony. Here we go. You are not hipper than all other bands because you can't play your instruments, White Stripes. I hate you. Image has been traded for talent. Marketing for heart. Not having an image is an image, and everyone who's ever been on MTV has a reality television show. You want to know who wouldn't have a reality TV show? Miles Davis, because you can't show injecting heroin, assaulting band members, all while writing Birth of the Cool on the TV box set. I'm not endorsing drugs, but if that's what it takes to get bands to stop selling their songs to car commercials, I say clean needle programs to anyone who can play an instrument. Maybe the reason everyone's talking about what so-and-so is wearing or who so-and-so is screwing is because they can't talk about the music but need something to talk about. No one was talking about who Hendrix was sleeping with because Hendrix was a madman with a guitar and they talked about that instead. They didn't care who he got pregnant because Jimmy could get you pregnant by looking at you because the man was a genius. Demographics, assaulting harmonies, trends, overtaking melodies, red carpet fashion walks last 5 hours and award shows last 2. What were the Grateful Dead wearing the night they played the Garden in '75? The same crap they wore the night before, because the night before they played 8 hours of straight improv while strung out on acid and didn't have time to check in with their fashion consultant. Stevie Ray Vaughan would play blues till he got holes in the tips of his fingers, get off stage, fill those holes with super glue, and come back out for 2 more sets and an encore. Do that, Linkin Park! You can't, because you are commercials who were taught how to play the guitar poorly. People say that Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil so he could play guitar. That man talked to God. And in the year of the Red State, God is up and left us with TRL and Britney. So turn off your television, ladies and gentlemen, because there are men who play hand drums in the park, guitar on the street, keyboards on the sidewalk, in the snow, with more joy in their eyes than I have ever seen. There is a blind man who plays accordion on a New York City subway, blind on a moving vehicle because he loves it. You will not see these people on MTV or VH1. You will never know their names because complain as we will that music has gone the way of the corporation. Every time the blind man walks by us and asks for change, we just drop our head in guilt and try not to listen to the music.
Jamie, who is your least favorite poet?
Oh my god. First of all, I don't believe that's a video camera. Second of all, my least favorite poet. Oh my god, that's an awful question. Luckily, it's going on a poetry website. My least favorite poet, it's anybody who tries to tell others what poetry can and can't be. I'm not talking about anybody in particular. It's so going to come back.
What's the writing process like for you? Do you do it all in one go? Do you edit?
I try to do it all in one go, and it ends up being like 15 pages, and then Allison points out that I'm trying to write like 8 different poems in one, and then I just chop, like, especially for slam, it's supposed to be 3 minutes, which is about 3 pages, and I would just end up, you know, I'll be like, blah, 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 my friends in the Marines, and global warming, and go vegetarian, and then she calls it the amazing wandering premise, and that's what it is, and then I would just edit, and then I'll do it on stage, see what works, what doesn't, and then I'll find more redundancies. The cool thing, hey, aspiring poets, here's a great thing about the 3 minutes, it's hard to give any rules to art, but what's really neat about it is when you try to write in a certain time frame, you really catch redundancies that you wouldn't. Like, I mean, there are so many times where I'm like, I say the same thing here and there, and here's a funny way of saying that, and blah, blah, blah. And then once you hack it and just make it, it just gets much tighter. I mean, I think a lot of people would say that what I did up there didn't sound like a poem. I mean, it all depends on how you're brought up, you know? I mean, there could have been some people who expected, like, very, like, you know, Robert Frost-like, or very, like, you know, my uterus sheds like a leaf on a maple tree, and, write that down. You know, so a lot of people would say that didn't sound like poetry, you know? So, I mean, it all depends on your definition, which, I mean, if you stick to the just how you feel, whatever, I mean, you can make anything sound like a poem. I think. Yeah.
And-
I'm gonna write a poem called "My Uterus is a Tulip."
Who's your favorite poet of today, of our times now?
My favorite poet. This sounds like such a kiss-ass lie. It's every night I'll see somebody that just blows me away and makes me want to go home and write. Other than that, Buddy Wakefield. Go check out Buddy Wakefield. He's so fucking good.
Otherwise known as Mr. October 2007.
Oh, is he coming here?
Yeah.
He is like, he's on tour with Ani DeFranco, right? He is like the greatest. He's gonna see me on Got Poetry, being like, oh, he's awesome. I mean, nothing like me. And all the poets I know are nothing like that. Everyone kind of idolizes him, yet he doesn't sound like anybody, you know? Like, he can be social, but he's not like overtly political, which like I guess I am. And he just writes so different and better than me. And but like every genre is attracted to him. Buddy Wakefield. BuddyWakefield.com.
What's your biggest inspiration to writing poetry?
The newspaper. I'm a huge fan of reading and writing opposite points of view.
Oh, good.
Huge. I mean, that is so important. If you're still gonna be biased to know what they're saying. B, liberals ain't perfect. Not close to it. We are screwing ourselves right now.
You and Mike McGee are unique in that you share a history of this being your second career.
Yeah.
Explain how you became a comic and how that turned into being a national slam celebrity poet.
I love having me and Mike McGee in the same sentence. Some people don't like me because I'm a funny poet. Some comedians didn't like me because I was too serious. What's great about slam is because there are really no rules. So like, I don't have to be funny when I go to a poetry reading. I can talk about whatever I want. If I'm funny, it's just another tool to get whatever my message happens to be. Just like, I mean, people have a ton of different tools, whether it's rhyme, which I can't do, whether it's drawing sympathy from personal experiences, which I'm starting to kind of try to branch into, which I think is really hard. Being funny, because that's how I dealt with all the bad stuff that happened to me. It was my denial coping mechanism. So stand-up to me slam to me just seemed like this great combination where it's like you can be funny, but you don't have to be funny. So you can talk about really serious things, and if you want to use humor, great, and if you don't. You don't have the comedy club crowd, which is like, make me laugh. And you can really use everything. I mean, good slam takes the best from music, you know what I mean? Allison will catch me tapping my foot sometimes or kind of bouncing like a little spaz. And it's because I used to play guitar in a band. I mean, slam really, I mean, that's why I so stress that it can be anything you want it to be, and it's so important. Don't try to be like anybody else. And it'll be harder, you know? I mean, God, if I went up and, you know, to little places where maybe they haven't seen Def Jam and tried to be like Saul Williams, you know, people would like it because Saul Williams can write, you know, and they'd be like, oh, that's neat. But no one would give a shit afterwards because I wasn't being me, you know? So you have to take your lumps and have people tell you that's not poetry and just keep doing it, but that just means you're doing it right and you're doing something different, which may bring people who would never go to see poetry, whether they think that's, again, Robert Frost or whatever. And, where was the question? Oh yeah, I hate stand-up comedy. It's fucking horrible.